question on a lot of people's minds these days in the Agile coaching space is, how do I show the impact that I'm having, or how do I make sure that I can prove the value that I'm providing to the organization or the team? This is a really natural question to be asking, as there have been so many well-publicized layoffs in our industry this year. The job market's been really tight. And so, for all of us who are doing this to make a living, it's really important to be able to demonstrate why what we're doing is valuable. I've seen a lot of discussion on LinkedIn recently about, how to crunch the numbers to show in a quantitative way what kind of value you're providing. And if you're able to do that, that's fabulous. But I know in my experience, it's been really difficult to get to a number in terms of ROI or number of hours saved or money saved or opportunities pursued from my coaching efforts, because very often these things are a little bit indirectly related, or they might take months or even years to realize the true benefits. So, what can you do if you're not in a position to access the kind of data that will give you those numbers, or if you're really wanting to get a sense of, am I providing value right now? How can I tell if I don't have those lagging indicators available to me? And so I put together a little bit of content here on how to think about this from a different angle. So I'm going to be sharing in this video, and then another video and a workshop, some ideas for how to get connected with the impact that you're making and help you to feel confident that you're doing your best work. So the first thing I want to share with you is just a different way of framing this idea of impact. So I'd like to step away from that quantitative mathematical thinking and think about it in some fairly simple or intuitive terms. So let's just start with, if we're looking at how do I figure out what impact I'm having, this is the result that we're looking for. Well, let's reverse engineer this and think a little bit backwards. What is impact, after all? Well, the impact that we have on the companies that we're serving or the teams that we're serving is directly affected by the fact that we're there, our presence. So if we look at impact, comes from our presence. We are working with a team, with a leader, with an organization. By the fact that we've shown up, we've offered something, whatever that might be, our presence is having an impact on the group. So regardless of whether this is positive or negative, the fact that you are there, you are having an impact on the organization. Hopefully that's a positive impact, but we all know people that we've worked with that just by them showing up, we might have a negative experience. So that part of the equation is there too. So we think about presence as just how we're showing up with a client, with our team, with our organization. Impact is the result of that presence and whatever we offer as part of that. How do we know that the presence that we're bringing into that space is something that's positive and that's going to lead to valuable, recognizable change? I think the first clue is how we are thinking about things before we enter the space. Let's just call this perspective. So I'd like you to think about the first call that you went into today and the perspective that you had before you signed on to that call. So just recall back for a moment, what were you doing maybe 2 minutes before you joined that first meeting? What kind of state of mind were you in? Were you feeling relaxed, confident, comfortable, prepared? Or were you feeling somewhere on the opposite side of that? Were you feeling frantic, rushed, frustrated, irritated? Whatever you were feeling, that was part of the energy that you brought into the room, most likely. Unless you're a very talented actor, you were probably bringing in some of that perspective into the conversation. That will have an impact on the people that you're meeting with. So another question to think about, not just how you were feeling, but what were some of the things that you were telling yourself as you entered the call? I've certainly had days where I looked at a meeting on my calendar and I thought, what fresh hell will this conversation bring? Certainly, when I had that mindset going into the conversation, my presence wasn't that calm, confident, relaxed, and grounded perspective that I wanted to bring. And I didn't have the kind of influence on the team or on the leader that I wanted to have. When I'm feeling confident that I have something of value to offer and that I can serve the person I'm speaking to in a genuine way, that comes through and they get actual value from our conversation and interaction. When I've already convinced myself ahead of time that there's nothing that I can do to help the situation, to be of service to this person, even if it's simply just to listen, knowing that I can't solve their problem. When I've convinced myself that I can't be helpful, guess what? I'm not. So this is just a little trick for you to be thinking about before you enter your next call. Get a little perspective check. What am I predicting about this conversation and what the outcome will be? How does that affect how I'm showing up? And what are others going to notice on the other end? Just something for you to think about. I'll be sharing more about this and ways to work on that perspective, not just have that be what you showed up with today or how you rolled out of bed that morning, but ways to design in the kind of perspective that creates the presence you want to have and leads to the impact that you're looking for. I'll be sharing more about that in an upcoming video. I'll hope to see you there. In the meantime, let me know what you think about this. Put a comment on this video and share your thoughts.